The United States, often described as the most powerful and influential country in the world, still lacks female leadership in government. After all, it hasn't even been 100 years since women secured the right to vote. Despite great progress since this historic date in 1920, representation across the political spectrum for women is less than equal. Women make up 51% of the United States population, but account for only 23% of the U.S. Senate, 19.3% of the House of Representatives, and 25.4% of state legislatures. And, as we all know, there is yet to be a female president. Yes, the 2018 midterms brought hope for the future of women in power. The 116th Congress will have a record 23% of women in the delegation. While this is a high, it is far from equality. The lack of parity leads many to ask the question, why do women in the U.S. not hold as many positions of political power? Common answers include formal and informal discrimination, religious beliefs, the wage gap, motherhood, and false narratives including hormonal and chemical imbalances. But what about the institutionalized design of Western civilization? Women in politics are working to overcome 2,000 plus years of institutionalized inequalities, not just the constraints of our modern world. Seeing as Athens is the foundation of American democracy, we must understand the text in which this institutionalized inequality began in order to understand the inequality in modern America. The following 5 texts help to design our society to favor men in politics. Let's start with Sophocles' Antigone. Ismene, the sister of Antigone, explains to Antigone why women should not question the men's role in politics.
We're women, that's all. Physically weaker and barred from any political influence. How can we fight against the institutionalized strength of the male sex? They are in power and we have to obey them, or worse tyrannies than these may be inflicted upon us.
Athena also holds the man above women in politics when creating the foundations of modern democracy. In Aeschylus' Eumenides, she states, "With all my heart I hold with what is male, except through marriage. I am all my father's no partisan of any woman killed for murdering her husband, her home's watchman. Even with equal votes, Orestes wins." Comedy offers another lens into the construction of our ideas of women in politics. Take this conversation from Aristophanes' Assemblywoman.
Women are in charge, correct?
And all our civic duties
are women's work.
It is clear from this clip who should be in politics and who should not. The same line of thought is demonstrated in Aristophanes' Lysistrata. The comedy focuses on women's attempt to end the Peloponnesian War between the Greek city-states by denying men sexual intercourse. Society found this play very entertaining. Women could not possibly have negotiating power over men. Finally, the life of Aspasia demonstrates what happens when an articulate and intellectual woman is involved in politics in ancient Greece. Aspasia, mistress of Pericles, had extreme political influence over her partner. In the Menexenus, Plato states that Aspasia wrote his famed funeral oration following the Peloponnesian War. Following this time, the couple were the subject of numerous rumors and personal attacks. Cratinus even called Aspasia a dog-eyed whore in his comedies. Do these ad hominem attacks sound familiar? The women who were involved in U.S. politics experienced similar criticisms. It turns out we are not as different from our origins of Western civilization from 2,000 plus years ago. However, by recognizing the roots of our problems, we can begin to deconstruct the institutionalized design of Western civilization political structures. In order to deconstruct social normalities, we need to understand where we come from. After all, it was Plato in his Republic who said, "Democracy is a charming form of government, full of variety and disorder, and dispensing a sort of equality to equals and unequals alike. It is time to include women in this equality."